I've got other plays for ideas, you know, where I'm going to do more, you know, I did so many plays that were based on my life early on,
Mm.
and people, you know, you could get sick of them, and I got sort of sick of them too. And so now I'm doing, you know, mythic plays. I'm gonna, you know, I still have some plays to do on historical figures. The poet plays are interesting to do because, for example, I've done 4 poet plays. 3 of them are rather nasty people: Stevens, Jeffers, and Edna St. Vincent Millay.
Mm.
The poet play that I've done with a likable lead character is the Hazel Hall play. She's a paraplegic. So,
Mm.
you know, there's,
It's a more sympathetic character, I suppose.
yeah,
But I mean that like it feels that like we are retreading, you know, if we're reading kind of your works chronologically at least, that we're retreading some familiar ground, especially in those conversations between father and sons, especially like kings and their sons. A lot of the conversations that we're reading are reminiscent of conversations from the plays with Sargon and the plays with who's the other one? Forgive me. Uh,
Cyrus,
Sargon
Cyrus,
and what was the other?
Cyrus.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this whole question of, you know, duty as it were, and what have you. But I suppose the one that really kind of stands out to me and was perhaps my favorite, I mean, maybe even predictably, is the Medea one. If only like that's perhaps the most melodramatic, quote unquote, in that, you know, with the murder of infants and accusations and you know, like and what have you. But the thing about that play to me that's quite striking is the kind of the heightened emotion that you're dealing with in those sort of scenes, and whereas in the other ones, in the other plays, there's a bit more of a cooler sensibility at work, even in all the scenes, really, a more kind of sense of detachedness. Whereas the Medea play does have more of those that kind of hot emotionality coming through, which you would
But
expect from an actor
that's in the
in
latter
hindsight.
half of that play. If you look at the beginning of that play, what I do is I hark back a little bit to the Dagonet character from the Arthurian plays. Dagonet was the court fool who
Yeah, oh
ends up
yeah,
in love with Guinevere. Here,
the
he
comedy of the assassins.
right. Well, not only the kind of assassins, but the play opens up with a lengthy sort of Abbott and Costello routine between
Mm,
Jason the King, who's sort of off his rocker and if not actively insane, he's going senile, and one of his royal assistant Thaddeus, who he keeps
yeah,
mistaking as Theseus
Theseus.
because
Yeah,
it's one letter off. So you have this whole thing. No, I'm not Theseus. I'm Thaddeus. And they go back and forth, and he keeps, and even in the final play, he forgets the name of the character, and so the Jason is set up as more, he's more a foolish character by that time because he knows he's getting closer to his death. You know, he knows from Hera, who he has shut out of his life and hasn't seen by that point. Hera
yeah,
plays a role in the first 3 plays, and then in the last 2 plays, she's sort of shut out before she has a final scene with Jason.
mm,
And so he's sort of, all over the place. And the irony is, we always have in the background of these plays, and especially in the Medea play, and I highlight this far more than any of the other Medea plays, is that it seems like the Trojan War is only maybe a few months or a few years off because there seem to be machinations on the outside that are forcing certain, in a sense, it's almost like a James Bond movie set, in ancient Greece because, it turns out that King Creon, who in the original version is a good sort of righteous king, he seems good and righteous, offering his daughter, but he's really doing it so that he can then end up killing off his son-in-law Jason and taking over his throne. And so he becomes another manipulative father who's doing that. And what's her name? Medea, when she ends up killing him, she does it for the wrong reason, but she does the right thing because he would have usurped her kingdom.